I know we all know about quantum jumping, but in this video, I am going to talk about that why every quantum jump has to come to that groundedness. First of all, if you're new here, welcome. When we quantum jump, what it actually means? That means our reality has shifted, and first it happens on a very subtle level. We start to feel different, and our patterns that used to hold us back, they feel like it used to belong to the older version of ourselves, right? And the reason I'm making this video that every quantum jump has to be accompanied with the groundedness is because when a lot of the people do meditation such as accessing the upper chakras, right, they can manifest a new reality. They can tap into a new version of themselves, but the real work is actually anchoring the new reality. And that's where it's not just the upper chakras, but more so the lower chakras as well, right? So we all know the upper ones, the third eye, and the crown, right? You meditate through your third eye, you start to see life differently, you start to look at a different version of yourself, and your crown start connecting to that version of you, the higher self version of you, and your reality shifts, right? But so many people go bonkers because they're like, yeah, but now I just feel like everybody's leaving my life. Like, I don't know what to do now. And I have personal experience there, so I'm not immune to it. And I still experience this as I shift my reality, as I quantum jump. So when we're talking about the lower chakras, right? First, and the most important one, I don't think so, I have heard many people talk about it, which is the root chakra, right? Your stability, your safety is actually the root chakra. When we are talking about Shiva consciousness means that you are in that stillness which taps into that void where the new creation happens, right? We all know that. But Shiva consciousness also means that you have to have the containment, you have to have that security and safety within your body to hold the intensity of the new version that you have called in. And that's where I want you to pause and pay close attention to your root chakra right now. Is it like this? Your butthole, is it like this? Or is it like this? And it's not just right now. When we are going through a massive change in our life, when things are not going our way, when we just stepped into a new reality, that's when you start to pay close attention. If it like this all the time, that means you still haven't anchored that identity. And I want you to pay close attention as much as possible to that root chakra, that why do you feel unsafe in your body holding that? And from my own personal experience, root chakra is where a lot of the fear lives, the ancestral fear lives, right? And when you start working with that, you will start to notice different themes of your life that even if you have tapped into a new version of you, the little things bring you that version at the front who still takes decision from that fearful place. And at that time, bringing that inner safety in your body is non-negotiable. That's why I'm so big on union of that Shiva and the Shakti energy, right? So that when the creation energy starts to work through you, the Shakti, you have to be solid in your Shiva containment too. So let's say, in a real life example, if you manifested a new reality to move to a different city, and as soon as you do that, you start to feel this fear in your body that, oh, how it's gonna happen, oh, like I just never been into this new state of being, that, oh, how I'm gonna do that. That's where you need to understand that teaching the body a new way is through bringing safety, that. And it's not just the breath, but more so bringing that awareness that where are you? How big is your vessel? And that's why creating space in that new version in your body requires that safety on your root chakra, right? And after that root chakra comes in your sacral, which is your eros, which is your sensual self, which is your feeling, right? And most of the people have numbed themselves so much that they don't even feel anything. When we talk about eros, it's not just about being sexual. It's more so like how lively you feel about world. Yes, you can quantum jump, but when you are wanting to act in a different way, that means you're tapping into the feeling of it. And if you have numbed yourself in the feeling, then your sacral is gonna have a bad time. It's gonna be like, girl, like what is happening? Because it requires repetition, right? And when we are really anchored in those two chakras, that's where that comes in the solar, our power center. And why it's called the power center? Because when your inner stability is there, when you don't feel shameful about your eros, when your sensuality is not being shamed by any outer authorities, you feel powerful. Nobody out there can make you feel so shameful when you actually embody that new version of yourself, that talk about whatever you want, I'm in my power. And I have experienced this in myself, that when I feel powerful, I channel my sun energy, my masculine energy, because the sensual center is the feminine energy. The masculine energy lives in the solar. That's why it's connected to the sun, right? So when you feel powerful, you're shining, you're not dimming your light, right? And another thing that I want to speak to you about your sacral center, when women tap into their sacral center, that's where the womb is, right? They start to create their new reality. Not only that, but they start to shed the layers of the old identity from the ancestral lineage from their womb space. So you might have noticed that a lot of women gets their period around full moon or new moon. I have personally experienced that. That means you're shedding that layer which doesn't serve you anymore. And I have done so many times when I've connected with my womb, and I have told it that I do not relate to that old identity who used to take decision from that fear. Boom, the next day I get my periods. It is so powerful. That's why I'm just so much about groundedness, about anchoring in, because spirituality is not just about going in the astral. Spirituality means you went into the astral and now you have to birth it here. And if your lower centers are not anchored, that's where you're gonna go bonkers, right? So I'm not gonna make this video too long. I just wanted to shift the perspective for you that quantum jumping with groundedness is a non-negotiable spiritual practice, right? I'm very curious to know that when you watched this video, what were you expecting? And after watching this video, what you got out of it? And if you have recently quantum jumped, how are you going to implement this, what I shared with you, moving forward? And if you're new here, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care.